I'm so honored to be a part of Abigail's movement. And this is a time in Virginia's history where we're bringing more women to the table is a good thing. That we're bringing those diverse voices so that we can hear all voices, not just some voices. So without further ado, the woman that's going to change Virginia, Abigail Spanberger.
Thank you so much to everyone for coming this evening. Thank you so much to our host. Thank you for putting this event together. It is such a pleasure to be introduced by Delegate Hala Ayala. I remember when she stepped forward last year with so many other candidates for the House of Delegates and decided she wanted to be part of a change in the community. And her example and the example of so many others is one that has really been an inspiration to me and one that I am proud to be following. My name is Abigail Spanberger, and I am... You watched the debate last night. You might not know that. I am the Democratic nominee running in Virginia's 7th Congressional District, and I am running for Congress because I believe that it is the role of every elected official across our country to work every single day, day in and day out, to make the lives of their constituents better and to try and understand the challenges and the concerns facing the people throughout their communities and to work every single day to address those challenges. And at its core, the role of a representative should be one of service. It should be service to community and service to the people who elected you. And my background is one of service. I began my career as a federal agent. I worked narcotics and money laundering cases. And from there, I became a CIA case officer. I worked undercover with the CIA. I worked counterterrorism cases, nuclear proliferation cases, counter narcotics, and a variety of other issues.
Wow.
And
wow, I get it.
What I was doing was working every day to make sure that I was asking all of the questions that needed to be answered so that our policymakers, our presidents, our military, and our diplomats had the information they needed to make good and informed decisions about issues of national security. And I was working every day to keep this country safe, our community safe, and I was serving in a way that was meaningful to me. And back in 2014, we were living on the West Coast after spending time overseas, and my husband and I were talking with our oldest daughter about where we might go next. And we were saying, oh, should we bid on Nairobi, or should we bid on London, or San Jose, Costa Rica? Yeah, I know. And my daughter said, what about Virginia? And I said, what about San Jose, Costa Rica? What about Nairobi? But my daughter's response was, well, everyone we love lives in Virginia. Why wouldn't we go to Virginia? And it was a very fair question. But on the trajectory that I had been on with my job, focused on national security, that was not supposed to be a possibility for me. But hearing my daughter say that, it started me thinking with my husband and our other daughters about what it is that we wanted long term. Because I grew up in Henrico County. We had moved around when I was a kid. I grew up in Henrico County in a way that we were invested in the community. We were really engaged in the community. And I realized when my daughter asked me that she perhaps wanted the same thing. And it made us take a look at what we wanted long term, and we decided that I was going to pivot out of public service, out of my service to country, and pivot towards community service. We moved back here in 2014. I took a job in the private sector. I started a Girl Scout troop. My husband became a soccer coach. It was very suburban, very good. And then 2016, the election happened, and I decided that I wanted to be a part of further change, because where my kids go to school, there were kids on the school bus who would end up crying because other kids would repeat things that they had heard on television. And the school made a rule that the kids were not allowed to talk about politics because talking about politics meant there was a child crying. And to me, that is not who we are supposed to be as Americans. It's not who we are. And I believe very deeply that we are a vibrant, beautiful country because of the diversity that exists in this country. And I've spent time overseas. Hablo español, vivía en Costa Rica. Y la cultura latina es una cultura rica, una cultura profundamente interesante que me encanta. Y yo sé tener relaciones en otro idioma y conocer a gente en su idioma, conocer a una cultura rica y bella. Y cuando veo que hay gente aquí en los Estados Unidos que no se siente cómoda, eso no puedo soportar. And so when I see that there are people in our communities, people who bring a rich, beautiful culture to this area who don't feel comfortable, that is when I say, I can't support this. This is enough. I can't accept it. And so I was so inspired by people like Delegate Hala Ayala, who stepped forward and said, I want to be a part of a change in a community. I want to be a part of supporting my community. And so I was incredibly excited to help individuals like Delegate Ayala, and I think Delegate Schuyler Van Valkenburg is supposed to be here at some point as well, because watching them step forward, watching them take part in this political process and represent people throughout our communities, it was an incredible thing to watch. And so I decided that I wanted to be a part of that change. I wanted to step forward and advocate for things that I believe are truly important. And the things I believe are truly important is the idea that this country, this incredible country that I serve, that I believe in, that I think is the most special place in the world, is a place where anybody can be anything. And that means that we need policies that allow for people to find their success. We need incredibly strong public educational systems. We need incredibly strong senses of community here so that people can prosper, can create opportunity, can start their own businesses, can find a job where they feel fulfilled, and they can grow as members of our community and as members of our economy. And I believe that we need to strengthen our healthcare system because we have so many we have so many people in our community who need access to strong, affordable, quality health care.
This is yours.
Oh, no, it's
You know what? Somebody else.
Okay, we're good. There are so many people within our community. There are so many people within our community. I want to take care of everybody. It looks like someone did it. I maintain my situational awareness for my CIA days, folks. And that's a focus on healthcare and ensuring that people have strong, affordable quality healthcare so that they can make choices based on where they want to work and where they want to live that aren't impacted by healthcare choices. And so it's for that reason that I support adding additional competition to the healthcare marketplace through the addition of a public option. And we have a senator who's on the ballot. I hope you'll vote for him, who's leading the way on this on the Senate side. And I have talked to so many students who feel unsafe and who feel insecure in their schools. And this is not something that I think is appropriate. I do not think that kids should feel unsafe in schools, and they need to know that their members of Congress are working on their behalf, are having hard conversations. And it's certainly not an easy conversation. We're not going to solve gun violence in a day, but we at least need people who are willing to have the conversations necessary to make forward momentum. And the good news is that there are people in Congress who are having conversations about hard issues. There was a bipartisan bill for background checks that was put in place. It couldn't get out of committee because there wasn't a critical mass of people who supported it, but indeed it had bipartisan support. Same when we look at immigration reform. There was a bill in Congress introduced in January, bipartisan by a Republican and a Democrat, that would have been a solution for dreamers. It would have secured border security. It provided a lot of steps forward, but it couldn't get any momentum because there wasn't a critical mass of people who wanted to fight for it. And so that's why I want to go to Congress, because I want to be a part of the conversations related to how it is that we can actually make progress. There are people who are committed to finding solutions that impact our communities, people who are committed to actually solving problems. There's even a group called the Problem Solvers Caucus. It should just be Congress, but until it is, I'm excited there's a caucus. Problem solvers! Yeah. So I say all of this because I know there are so many people across our community and across the country who feel a sense of anxiety every day that we turn on the news. But I truly believe that come November and come January, we will see a critical shift in where we are, a critical shift. A critical shift in the conversation happening on our behalf of this community, on behalf of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and on behalf of the people across this country. And I am so excited by what we've been able to do in this race. And this race, when I got in it last year, was considered a safe, strong Republican district. Now we are a toss-up. And we... I'm sorry, it's that Latino blood. We're passionate about everything. And we are a toss-up district because people across this district are excited and engaged and volunteering and giving their time and their energy and their money to the work that we are doing. And I am so proud of everything that we've achieved. I'm so proud of the volunteer force that we have. We've got over 4,000 registered volunteers. We need more, so please. Not everybody likes to knock doors, so if you do, please join us these next couple of weeks. We have 3 weeks left. 3 weeks left to really show what it is that we believe in, what it is that we want to work towards, because really, truly, the future of this country, I believe, is a bright one, and it is a bright one that is made brighter by the vibrancy of our communities, by the excitement of our citizenry, and by an engaged electorate. And so I thank you all for being here tonight, because when we look at how it is that we will impact our government, how we will impact our communities, it is by having people across the district, across our country, engaged in the political system in a new way. And so I thank you so much for spending your Tuesday night, is that what it is? Your Tuesday night with us, because it speaks to the fact that people want to be a part of the political system. And I think for so long, politics seemed far away. And I say this is our 135th meet and greet event across our district. And there are events just like this in living rooms and dining rooms and basements and libraries and garages and a dojo for Aikido studio. That was a first. But it is groups of people who are coming together, who are talking about politics, because we have realized as a community that everything is political. And because everything is political, it is our duty as citizens to engage. And if that's coming to one event, if that's going to the polls, if that's volunteering, if that's just telling somebody in the line at the grocery store that you're excited about the election, or if it's running, everybody has a different part to play in this. And so I thank you so much for being engaged. I thank you to everyone who helped put this event together. Thank you so much. Le doy gracias por todo lo que están haciendo. Le doy gracias por todo han añadido a esta comunidad, y ojalá que el 6 de noviembre es un día que todos pueden celebrar. Gracias. Thank you. Future Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger.
In a group this size, thank you all so much for coming out, but in a group this size, we're going to limit it to a few questions. You'll still be here after we're done, but anybody has some?
I have one. Sorry, my voice is not so good. And maybe it's a dumb question, but it will be if I don't ask. Many times there are many bills that are passed, or many of you are working together to make things possible. But really, I don't know, or maybe many of us don't know where to go and check what is going on over there in Washington. So where can we be more informed and maybe push the people that we help elect and reaching out to them so you can really be part of the solution, because we are the ones concerned, the one that will benefit. So is there any website, is there any place that we can go and just be up to date to what is going on there in the Senate?
Yeah. So the question was a good one. It was about how people can stay updated and engaged and follow what's happening in Congress and in Washington. And the truth of the matter is it's really hard because there are bills coming up constantly. And so it is very, very difficult to keep apprised of what's happening. But you're not the first person to ask me this, and you're not the first person to express the general confusion and concern about the fact that it is so difficult for citizens who are interested in staying engaged to be able to follow what's happening. And so one of the things that I think is incredibly important is to ensure that when I'm elected, I allow for people and I give an opportunity for people to understand what's happening. And among the things that I have discussed with my team that might be possible is an email newsletter of different bills that are coming up, just updates. But I've actually also talked to a number of people who said they don't like emails and they prefer paper. So it might be a bit of a hybrid. In terms of websites specific to what's happening on Capitol Hill, different members of Congress do update their websites with different things that are happening. But again, that's kind of specific to what their priorities are. And I think that if you're trying to watch for what's happening overall, it's a little bit difficult if you're only focused on a couple people. I would defer to my team if they're aware of any really good websites for voters to look at on a regular basis. Tim Lewis, do you have an answer to that one? To put you on the spot?
Or the general one that we can just go with.
The Congress.gov
Yeah.
is what I use. That usually has the entire floor schedule,
Yeah.
and you can look up specific bills for specific members. That's the most effective.
And that site, it is the most comprehensive, but it is also, I mean, the
It's a
text
good
of the bills.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you.
I have a question. I'm sorry, I might have written it down, but I speak for myself. I'm not really speaking for everyone in the Latino community. I grew up in New York. I was a product of a single-parent home. I never considered myself a victim within that circumstance. My mom fought hard, never collected a dime from the government, and I'm not really pro-government either. And I don't want someone running for me to give me more welfare, to give me more food stamps. That's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is someone that's going to fight for truly what happens within the household, because to make a Latin community strong, it begins in the house. It doesn't begin with the politicians, although they do support us. But with that said, there's a lot of things that go on in politics, and I know that you were heavily trained, and I respect that, because obviously we owe a lot to what you were trained in your background, and you're a forerunner as well as the other gentleman, the woman here. So I didn't follow you as much, but I know that in CIA and all these backgrounds, you're trained to really say the things that people want to hear. And so with that respect, I want to know, how do we know that you're trained, all politicians are trained to really deliver the fine prime rib, to satisfaction without paying a dime. And so I want to know, how do we know as a community that we are hearing the truth, and that when you get into office, that you truly are fighting for the desires of what we want? Because I've had enough government, and I saw my mom fight for hard things, and no one ever provided for her. And even within the Latin community, because I think that happens where everybody starts to become divisive because we're trying to find an identity. And we want you to bring that identity, but to keep it true to who we are here in Virginia.
So, I think all opportunity starts with education. All opportunity starts with education, and the opportunity for people to be able to get a strong foundation in public schools where they can, that's the pathway towards the opportunities that you have, either going to career technical training, going to universities, being able to go out into the workforce. And so any sort of efforts to try and stave off difficult circumstances that may happen. I am a supporter of assistance programs, because I think they play a vital role in helping people who need a step stool to stand on as they're kind of back on their pathway towards opportunity. But for me, it all starts with education, and that is foundational to people's ability to pursue what it is that they want to do in life. And that's higher rates of education lead to higher rates of civic engagement, lower rates of criminality, better health outcomes, in addition to the actual opportunities that exist kind of on an economic path of what job opportunities present themselves.
May I add to that?
Yes.
I'm actually a product of social services, not just once but twice in my life. And you're absolutely right. If it wasn't for the opportunity in the technical field, if somebody reached out to me and said, hey, this is our path, so being in social services, being on Medicaid, I had a difficult pregnancy, almost lost my son, I faced challenges. And I was working at a gas station.
And if it wasn't for someone in that social services department to teach me how to do my resume, to show me and help me, it wasn't a hand out.
Right.
It's a hand up.
Right.
And so I was able then to graduate from the program with honors,
Yes.
speak at the program, talk to, it was mostly women
Yes.
who were single parents, who were trying to make ends meet, who were trying to better themselves. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. But I think that working with our current constructs, adding availabilities for education opportunities was one of my success stories. That gave me healthcare.
But I
was
don't
able
want
to
it to
provide.
become a crutch, and it seems
And I think
like
that's a
sometimes
misnomer.
that, okay.
I think
But
it's a
that is,
misnomer.
that is the thing, that we don't want it to be a crutch.
But I think there's other things, even when you look at, equal pay. So if you are pursuing a job, I mean, studies, time and time again, having Congress take the lead on actually saying that women and men should get equal pay for equal jobs, I mean, that's a substantial thing. And, I mean, white women make less money than men, and then, black women make less money than white women, and Latino women make less money than black women. So when you're even looking at, there's no dollars out the door, it's just about standing up and recognizing where there are disparities and saying that these are unacceptable disparities and biases and discrimination that exist in our community that negatively impact particular communities more than others.
This is the bottom problem. Yeah, and this is the bottom line, okay? We're here because we want to support you, because the bottom line is that there are cuts right now in education. You should say education is very important. There's cuts in our social services. The majority of the people actually don't want that handout. The majority of people want to work. The people that are qualified for Medicaid expansion, many of them work. Unlike what a lot of people think, what the issue is trying to give them a hand up so that they can make a living wage. Because most of them work. They work 2 or 3 jobs without benefits, and for Latinos, that's the issue. So we are right now experiencing not just a heightened anger and discrimination, there's more segregation with the schools, with the poor population, with the least resources, etc. So we need to support people like you, and so the particularly the Latinos I'm speaking that are here. You have helped get Obama, and we need to come back, and we need to come back and be fired up. Yeah. And before you leave here, we need to coordinate. I am not, unfortunately, I'm in Hanover County, but when it changes, I am here because just today, for example, when you said we can all do our part, I was a little late because I ran into a guy who's was cleaning from El Salvador, who just became a citizen, is going to vote from North Chesterfield. I'm going to ask Monique. I got his number down. You got to let me know because I want to get you involved because you're going to vote. He didn't know. Well, does Trump was a Democrat or Republican? No! He's a Democrat. Straight through. So what I'm saying is that we have a wonderful group here that before we leave here, we need to sit down and say, when is our next meeting to get together with your head person to get us out at a plan coordinated door to door. I'm coming from my outside of my district to do it, to educate people why you're the candidate.
Thank you.
So this is no time. This is no time. This is time to really harness our energy, harness that emotion, that frustration that we feel, that anger, and put it to good use. Be positive. So, because you're going to win.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I just have to say something. I see a lot of my Latinos here, and we've got to...
We're all on the same page.
Yep.
Well, I want one more question, and then Abby's gonna be here for a little bit
No, we got
longer.
one from, Skylar.
Delegate
Oh,
He's in the house.
Delegate, Michelle Sejour was around here too.
Yes, it's right.
Welcome,
Right there. Michelle.
Michelle Sejour is right there. And you've done a lot for Latinos.
Yes.
Hola, Michelle.
Unbelievable.
Michelle, this is Shane. It's me to Shane.
Delegate, can I ask you?
Does anybody have one more question?
I just want to ask you about one thing. Look, I'm on the fence. I'm an independent. I can't trust Republican. I haven't trusted Democrat because nobody really represents me. Because I'm a Latina. As a Latina, I'm conservative. I have conservative values. I'm a person of faith. you know, and I believe in so much of what you say, but then some things I can't agree to, like abortion, for example. I can't support a party, and I can't support any individual that will just say abortion until the last, trimester. And that's why I couldn't vote for Hillary. And it frustrates me so much that nobody represents me. And so, what is your stance where you can meet in the middle, where you can listen to people like me, Latinos, who believe in so much of what you're saying, but just can't take it that far to abortion? I can't do that.
I think it's all about choices. It's all about choices.
I think the
I
choice is made
believe-
before you.
I believe that our communities, I believe that our communities are stronger when we invest in education, when we ensure that people have healthcare choices.
I was a school liaison. It doesn't do it because the schools are dropping the ball with our kids. So many schools that I worked at as a school liaison washed their hands clean of this kid, especially the Latino immigrant kids, because they were traveling kids, and so they would come in and they would stay for like a season, a semester, and then the schools didn't want to deal with them because they were so far behind, or there was a lot of truancy, and then the schools, a lot of principals just told me, just wait till the next year and we'll get rid of them. And that's what they thought of our Latino students, because the people that are here are Latinos that are like, I would say, like medium class, mid-class, but the Latinos that are not being represented here, the poor Latinos, the ones that are here and that are not here rather, and that don't have a voice, they're not represented, and the schools just kind of go.
So I'm running against a man who's listed as one of the top 10 anti-immigrant members of Congress. So depending upon what your priorities are, if you believe this is a country where immigrants should be welcomed and should have opportunity and should be part of a vibrant community, then I would urge you to vote for the Democratic Party.
I believe in the Constitution, but my deal, again, that my hang-up is abortion. I need to believe and I need to trust that my values will also be represented. I know that the Republicans have a platform, the Democrats have a platform, but for me, as a Latina, I have values that you represent, but then I have values that
And I think that when
don't.
that baby is born, that baby shouldn't be put in a cage at the border.
That's correct.
And so
And I
depending
believe the
upon...
baby shouldn't be murdered in the womb, with being stabbed in the back of the neck and his brain suctioned out.
The Blessed Mother could have said no, and she said yes,
She had
which
the
tells all of
choice.
us that she had a choice,
Right.
and that's all we're talking about.
Can I say something about this, because I think I identify with you as a
Yeah.
Catholic, and I definitely am against abortion, but there's not one person that's going to change it. Not one president, not one senator, not one
But we can
congressperson.
start
So
somewhere, right?
there's going to be nobody that's going to align with every single thing that you have on your
But this is
agenda.
a big
But
one.
my thing is, why don't we vote for someone that advances us in the right way, instead of putting babies in cages, instead of, undermining Latinos, instead of taking away health care and only giving to the rich? How about we vote for people?
Latinos and blacks are the most
But
targeted.
how about we vote for someone who takes us in the right direction? Because there's no one person in the whole government that are going to solve every single one of the problems that you just said right now, and there's a billion of
I want to make sure we have time probably to answer other questions afterwards, so we'll
Thank
be
you.
here
I'm
namely.
sorry. I'm very passionate about it.
I just have a little comment too. It's a Latina as well who moved here when I was 13, who had all this stuff. I just want to say that I'm so proud to be here because I can vote. And I can say that My parents came here with nothing. And today, my brothers, myself, and my parents, we all have businesses thanks to the United States of America. When Bill Clinton was president, thanks to him, we were able to have our, the visa, and then we got the green card, and now we are citizens. We were Democrats because of him, and because we believe that there is something in this country that maybe, yeah, you're right. She doesn't have everything that you want. She doesn't have everything that you want, but you're able to say it. And you can say, I don't believe that you should go for this. If you go to any other country, you won't be able to do that. But she she believes in us. She believes in the fact that they should be gone to school, which I have 2 kids, and I don't want any of them in school. I know that the system is not a perfect system. I went to school here. I went to middle school, high school, college. When I was in Mexico, we were like, oh, let's go back to Mexico because it was hard here. I went back to Mexico and they said, no, you cannot go to school here because you were gone for so long, blah, blah, blah. My dad was like, okay, we just have to go back to the United States. We came back, and guess what? We all graduated from high school. We didn't graduate from college, but we all had some experience. And now we provide jobs, we provide taxes, we provide everything.
We're gonna get the last question.
Oh, okay. Thank you. My name, as a Bolivian, it was Maria Julia Viola. And I am Fernando's aunt, and I'm one of the sisters that helped to organize this. It was supposed to be in my home. Unfortunately, in my neighborhood, it's a very Republican Trump group, and that's not allowed to more than 3 cars in the neighborhood. I was dead. So I called Fernando and I said, we cannot do it here. And then they said, if it's a political thing, you cannot put any signs. I said, listen, can I do it or not? And they said, no, you can't, and so on and so forth. So I called Susie and said, Susie, you got to do. I said, but when is it? Susie's not very much into politics. And I know that she does. So anyhow, here we are tonight. I want to congratulate you. I think that you are inspiration to a lot of people, especially to the young people. I recognize that we the Latinos carry still a very heavy monkey on our back. Just the fact that we are Latinos, we are not Latinos. I'm a Bolivian. She is a Salvadorian. The other one is a Mexican. So do not put us in a group of people as we are Latinos. Because whatever the Bolivian culture is, we don't even speak the same Spanish. Your tico Spanish is not my Quechua Spanish or whatever. So having said that, I do agree with you that it's about time. Okay, the election, we lost an election. We celebrated ahead of time. We were having our big party the night before. So anyhow, and it was a very letdown until people like you got elected.
This is the system that
Until
keeps us here.
And
then we get Abigail there.
And then you come along, and I think all of us Latinos and any foreign people and any American, this is still the best country in the whole world. Because we are in a spiral, and we have to stop it. And we, as the underdog, if we brought Obama as president, being a black person, maybe he wasn't even an American, according to Trump. But he still was a president for 2 periods. So, having said that, I congratulate you. I haven't worked for your campaign, but this last 2 weeks, even if it is in my neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.